Okay, so PSA, public service announcement. If you're a jerk and you get hit by a trailer, then you suck. Because the guy driving the trailer like this jerk, he's coming around corners. He was coming around that corner doing well above what he should be. We are in the Jemez Mountains. We just passed the Jemez Pueblo. We are going into an area called Porter.
This is.
Oh, watch out! You got.
This is Gilman.
Right. We're heading towards Porter. This is called Gilman. This road, there are residences back here, but there's some phenomenal fishing along this river. Some of it is actually what they call green chili water, which is quality waters in other states. They renamed the quality waters to green chili about 3 or 4 years ago. And what that means is there's limitations, catch and release or barbed, you can't have barbed hooks, you can't use certain live bait, things like that. So if you're a fisherman and you're a fisherwoman and you're not an ATVer and you're watching this video, this is a neat place to come fishing. That's the point I'm making. But a lot of these neighborhoods back here are little farms. There's nothing really close enough for people to go and commute to work to. So a lot of these people, either make a living off of the town that's nearby, or they're farming or logging or selling just wares. But other than that, have you ever noticed when you're riding the ATV that it's kind of like when you're driving? Have you ever had that moment when you're driving and you get somewhere and you're like, crap, I could probably only remember 2 or 3 red lights.
Mm-hmm.
But you just literally drove through an entire city.
Uh-huh.
So there's more red lights than 2 or 3.
Right.
And I admittedly have had moments where I go, I was so, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm a bad driver, but
you were so focused on what you were doing, you didn't pay attention to your aesthetics. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I mean, you sit there and go, did I
run all those lights?
Yeah. Who did I hit?
Or God, I hope I didn't hit anybody. I hope I didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, like National Lampoons. What was the name of the dog that he ties to the bumper and forgets?
Yeah. He forgets he's tied to the bumper.
You're a monster. Yeah, no. I just noticed that. Well, that looks like a head, doesn't it?
This area right in here, if you'll notice, there's a lot of fences to your left here. There's a community of hippies that moved in. There's still some of the structures that are still here. And they literally came in and took over the land. And the people who own the property could not get them out. And the legal system would not evict them, some kind of whatever it was, but they've been living there for months, and there's another one right there, or for years they've moved in and they just homesteaded. And I've been noticing whenever one of these houses or mobile homes or vans that they were living in is gone, the owners put fences up to keep them out now. And you'll notice that the last couple of times we've been out here, we've been noticing the amount of fencing that has gone on in this area to keep that from happening again. Because when they came in, there was nothing they could do to get them out. Whatever the situation was, they couldn't rely on the legal resources to get them out of there. So they ended up staying here for years and years and years.
Well, and this state's kind of weird in the sense of there's a lot of homestead or squatter. There's a lot of squatter.
Yeah.
I hate using the word because homestead is current, right? Yeah. But like I know in Rio Rancho, there's a lot of empty space where people bought property back in the 70s. And people just move in, so they start squatting. And there's actually laws here where after a certain point of time, all they have to do is pay the property taxes after a certain point of time, and they take responsibility of the property. So you lose rights on the property, and it's just weird. It's interesting. And this area is just, covered in Native American, places and sacred places. And so it does draw a lot of hippies. And I'm not saying, like that rock song, I won't do a copyright violation, but it's the one where, cut your hair and get a job.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
George Thorogood, I guess. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hippies, but there is a granola crunch happening because there's a lot of sacred places,
Yeah, there is.
We've been riding where we come across old pueblos, old, stashes of pottery just out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah. When we were doing a lot of our hiking, I can't tell you how many times we've come across Native American burial sites. Some of them are ancient sites where they have the carved round slate with a hole in it for the spiritual emergence of the soul, and they're buried sitting in the ground. And we found several of those in the Rio Rancho area, and we found several religious ceremonial sites out here where you're climbing on a cliff and you get up and you find a little hole, like a little, not a cave, but inside that cave is broken pottery and eagle feathers and turquoise. Someone intentionally climbed up there and put that in there for a ceremonial sacrifice or a ceremonial offering.
Right.
And they're everywhere. All you have to do is pay attention and you'll start seeing. See, here's some of these fences that I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's really popular out this area is a lot of these hills have the red dirt. In this area specifically, and so the natives use the red dirt for the color of their clay,
right,
for their pots. So
Jemez is famous for their red clay pottery. Right outside of the Jemez Pueblo is the Red Rock ceremony, and the Indian women used to go over there and mine that clay out, and you'd see them on the sides of those cliffs mining that clay out. You don't see it now, but when we were growing up in this area, coming out here, we used to see them out there all the time. But the red clay is what made the Jemez pottery pretty famous, and it's all over in here.
Yeah. So the interesting little factoid of this area is that this road we're on used to be a rail line, right? And
I got this thing straightened out here, because it is a little confusing. This has always been a road here. This road goes all the way up, and I'll show you where the old mill used to be. And this road was for the community that's here, but also for the logging trucks that were moving the timber from this mill. And from the timber that was coming to this mill was coming from Porter by train through the tunnels and dropped off here at this mill. And they would process the lumber in a rough sense,
just enough to stack, or
just enough to process them, and then the logging trucks would take them from here all the way to Bernalillo, and from this mill here, you could not go north. You could not go north through the tunnels on a vehicle. The only way you could get out there is by riding on the lumber train, or an old Packard that they had with wheels. Train or track wheels. The car was fitted to ride on the rails.
Right.
And that car was for emergencies, mail, and supplies. So you could not, from this side, drive your vehicle. You could walk through there, but you couldn't drive from here to there, to Porter. But to get to Porter, if you wanted to drive, you would drive through Jemez Springs all the way up to La Cueva, and then you would go west over towards Fenton, and just before you got to Fenton, you would take that 376. I'm not sure.
We're on 376, so
Yeah,
we just
and
entered
it would come
376.
back this way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a big. It
Yeah,
reattaches,
you would come back this way. Well, now you can drive through there, but at that time, in the day of Porter and the mill, you couldn't get there through here.
Right. Okay.
And right in here, we're coming up on the area where the old mill used to be. And you can see the foundations and concrete slabs that are left. That's what's left out here. Yeah, you see down in there? That's where the old mill used to be.
So this is where okay.
And the train would bring the timber all the way to here. And it would come down, drop the timber, and then in reverse go back up, load up, and just back and forth. That's what they would do. So this here was the road, but from the
Watch, I got a people.
From the tunnels, that is the railroad bed north to Porter. That is the railroad bed that we're on.
Okay. So this wall up here, this cliff face is what? Oh, we got a big fifth wheel. And he's not realizing you don't have fucking space. Jesus Christ. He had a whole pull-off area.
Yeah. He ended up going off.
Did he?
Yeah. He didn't slow down, but...
Yeah. Well, he's drinking his 64-ounce big gulp. Yeah, we could check right here. And then we'll... Just that way we can make sure everything's tied down. Right.
What I like about this truck is it has fully automatic. Then it has manual. And I have 4 gears on it.
Yeah.
So I can shift the gears. Like I've got a standard truck, standard transmission.
Yeah, they make these trucks are not the way, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Whole different animal. So we're going to be running into the crowd of people who've been camping all weekend that are going home.
Yeah.
And then we have the people that are going to be out here for picnicking. And I'd be happy if we just find a shady place just to... I've seen some people bring some big stuff through here.
Yeah. We need to find out all the movies that were filmed in this area.
Well, we got caught up that one time when they were filming Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp. I know there was a John Wayne movie. that was filmed up here, and I for life of me can't remember the name of it. But yeah, Natural Born Killers did a scene up here. So I imagine there's, this is a pretty rich movie history area,
Like we're on the actual road bed here, or the railroad bed here.
And there's caves up in some of these.
Yeah.
So this mesa, you can actually get up to on a road that's on the other side of 376.
Right. This goes up to Schoolhouse Mesa.
Yeah, Schoolhouse Mesa.
And the railroad bed shifts off, and it's along this side here. It separates. The road goes up, and the railroad bed stays down along the river.
I was trying to get some of the river, but the stream, more like a stream, but Mexico standards is a river.
It's a river.
Here we go. You can see what's really cool is it's not really deep, but you can get German browns and some rainbow trout, and the biggest rod that you probably want to have in this river's is about a 7-footer. I wouldn't go any higher than a 7-foot. They're just too narrow. There's pools, so you need at least, I like having the 7-foot or using the longer end of the spectrum, because the pools are so shallow that a shadow
Right.
alerts a fish,
Yeah.
and then so you can actually reach out 7 feet.
Yeah. I like to use my fly rod out here. I don't use the bait casters out here at all.
Yeah, so when I say 7 foot, that's a 7-foot fly rod.
Fly rod, yeah. You
got a camper.
You use your 7 foot to reach out to get in there, and sorry, bud, but one of us got to squeeze in.
Yeah.
But the fly rod is the only rod you need.
We got another one up here. You've got about maybe a foot. You're of a soft shoulder, so.
Yeah.
So sorry, you're saying
there's a caravan coming down.
Yeah, there's 1, 2,
3.
3 campers.
As long as they're leaving.
The hard thing with this road is this is barely a 1.5 pickup truck road to begin with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As long as they're all going home.
Yeah. How's he on the in clearance of the trailer?
Oh no, we got plenty of room.
Okay. Oh, there's a Titan.
As long as they're all going home.
So this is the closest mountain range, one of the closest mountain ranges to Albuquerque, so that if it's hot during the day, you can count on it being a good 10-12 degrees different.
Yeah.
And so people like to come up here. Okay. Well, hopefully that was
Whew.
Problem is, this is the only hard part of the road is the first 4 or 5 miles, and we've only gone maybe 1.5 miles, 2.
Yeah.
There's the reason being is that a lot of people haul ass through this area, with a trailer or without, and these are washboarded roads, so it doesn't give you much time to pull out and get out of the way. And if you're going downhill, you're being pushed by whatever you're carrying. So this road can get kind of nutty if you have a bunch of people in a hurry, which is usually on a Friday afternoon coming through here. People haul by. There's another vehicle coming.
I've actually hauled heavy equipment through here on a semi truck, and dodging campers is a real chore.
Yeah.
And these people, especially if you're in a government vehicle like a county truck or a county vehicle, they figure you owe them, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no mercy.
It's just people. Okay, so PSA, public service announcement. If you're a jerk and you get hit by a trailer, then you suck. Because the guy driving the trailer like this jerk, he's coming around corners. He was coming around that corner doing well above what he should be.
Too inside the turn. You know?
Yeah.
Come on.
Problem is the trailer we have is a 18-foot car hauler. It's a 10K, either 10 or 14K car hauler. It weighs probably more than most average trailers because it is a car hauler, so it's more robust. But the width on it is wider than a vehicle.
Yeah.
So these guys driving around corners don't realize we're taking them an extra almost 3.5 feet, and it gets to be kind of dicey. But now we're getting past the areas where there's a cliff on one side and no shoulder on the other.
Yeah, choke roads. I like that cloud formation.
What do they call it when you see things in clouds or in randomness?
Ferodilia.
What is it?
Ferodilia.
Ferodilia.
I think that's the way it's pronounced.
It's the honk way, or the crazy bear way.
That's right.
So if you ever hear me call them honk, there's a reason, and it's a habit.
Yeah.
So
you can call me anything you want, just don't call me late to lunch.
Yeah. And we got 10 acres up here, so we can turn this rig around if we need to.
That's
so
right.
We're kind of hitting all the bases. Now, I have memories of this mountain range. I've probably put in close to 30 years of my life in this mountain, back and forth. Not solid, but, I've been out of high school for almost 30 years, I think. Does that sound weird?
Yeah.
Okay. And my wife and Beck went to high school up here because back then they didn't have a school district where we live, and so every chance I got, I was up here. And it's interesting how a mountain range. Every time I come up here, I see something new.
That's right.
Like the ride we did last weekend.
Yeah.
I had never been in. Had that view of the Cabo Zone in the background.
Yeah. That, is the most important part of the earlier part of our interview when we were talking about, riding, using the ATV as a wheelchair to get my old body out again.
Yeah.
Is I'm going into areas I've never been before. And I was born and raised in this country. I know these mountains very, very well, but I'm in areas I've never been before. Ever.
Yeah, because Grandma Miller, every chance we had as a family, we were up here at that one spot where we could throw the watermelons in the water to get them cold, the beer in the water to get them cold, and plenty of swim holes,
But the ATV has opened up these mountains like I've never been able to do before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, and I know I've been doing a lot of videos just of the same areas, but I don't feel like I don't think people appreciate how close this place is and how much you can do.
Yeah.
I was pulling one of the trailer ramps out, and there was fossils in the V's.
Uh-huh.
And I went, holy cow, the trailer picked up some fossils. There's some fossils out here,
It's amazing. The intention we're trying to do is not only show what the ATV activity is about, but also the area we're riding. Because we live here, we know enough to be able to give you some tidbits and some. So it's an educational video for the full circle of this adventure, Yoro Adventures. It's education, entertainment, and watching us have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And try not to screw it up, you know.
And trying not to hurt ourselves, say bad words on public TV or public YouTube. Because I tend to say bad words whenever I...
Hey, bad words are sometimes, you know, there's people that say bad words just to say, look how bad I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to say bad words. But there was a book I was reading. It was one of those old classic books, and I want to say it was Mark Twain, one of his loving type of books, but he says bad words have a place in history. You know, because you can always mark what the culture was like based off the swear words that were there. You know? Gosh darn it, you know. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch our video today. This video was just mainly about Crazy Bear and I having conversations about the area and explain a little bit more about why we're out here doing what we do. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Please make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to like the video and feel free to leave a comment. We always enjoy hearing from you. Hope you have a great day and see you out on the trails.